Hands down, the Flowmaster Outlaw will be one of the loudest axle-backs in the category for 11 to 12 Coyote and Shelby owners alike who want to be heard by everyone and have no remorse for other cars, neighbors, or eardrums around you. Now, the Flowmaster will pack 409 grade stainless steel throughout for the mid $400 price point, while the installation will get a very soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and roughly an hour to complete from start to finish, as we'll show you later in the video. But since this is an exhaust video after all, what do you say we break down the sound clips you guys just heard with our 5-liter GT? And as advertised, the Outlaw is an absolute punisher. One of the loudest systems I've personally heard on the 5-liter Coyote, and an easy 5 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to wake the neighbor scale. And while yes, this thing is loud on the inside, you are getting a decent amount of noise inside the car as well. And that's something some owners should take into consideration, and some owners might like, others may not. Now, if you do have your heart set on that iconic Flowmaster sound, but maybe aren't ready for all this volume, you might want to check out some of Flowmaster's other offerings instead, which will be a tad bit tamer. Now, one thing I always like to mention in axle-back videos, and one thing I think it is important for you guys to consider, is that what is your future plans with your car or exhaust? Because as loud and angry and unruly as this thing is right now, you have to keep in mind that is with the factory manifolds or headers still in place. Now, remove those manifolds in place of some long tubes, catless, whatever, and that sound is only going to get louder and crazier. Now, if you're cool with that, great, you're certainly going to be in the right place. However, if the current volume level of the Outlaw just with axle-backs alone is kind of tiptoeing on being just a bit much, well then, it is only going to get louder in the future with more exhaust modification. So again, just something for you guys to consider at home. But what do you say we talk about why the Flowmaster Outlaw is such a head turner in the volume department? And honestly, I can speak to this from experience, as I've actually assembled one of these systems at the Flowmaster factory out in California. Now, the Outlaw body itself starts out life as a 4-inch piece of tubing, and then is stuffed with 4 to 5 metal baffles and then welded into place one at a time. Now, these baffles do have a hole right in the middle, allowing for better flow, along with, of course, all of that volume. Now, as far as the rest of your construction is concerned, well, you're going to be looking at 409 grade stainless for a majority of your build here, which is a step up from the aluminized steel when it comes time to reducing corrosion over the years, even more so with the black paint on top here, which is kind of a signature Flowmaster move. Now, the Outlaw axle-back does feature mandrel bent 2 3/4 inch tubing, and everything is going to exit out the twin 4-inch tips here embossed with that Flowmaster logo. But now comes the time in the video where we want to show you just how to get everything bolted up on your ride at home. So without further ado, here's that detailed walkthrough along with a quick tool breakdown.
Tools used for this install are an impact gun or ratchet, a small extension, a 13mm socket, and a pry bar. So the first step of this install is going to be removing your factory mufflers from the car. There's only a couple of hangers and a couple of clamps that hold them in place, and they should come out relatively easily. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is loosen up and remove the ball flare clamp that is on the inlet pipe to the muffler, and I'm going to use a 13mm socket on my impact gun to loosen that up. So in order to remove this muffler, I'm going to have to unbolt the front and rear hangers from the vehicle. Some of the bolts are a little bit tricky to get to, so I'm going to use a pry bar and push my muffler back as far as it'll go, just so I can get better access to the bolts, and then I'll move to the back hanger of the muffler. All right, so next what I'm going to do is remove this hard to reach bolt that is on the inside of the bumper along the frame rail here at the back of the muffler. I'm going to use a 13mm socket and unbolt it from the car. Next, I'm going to get this lower bolt, also with a 13mm socket. And now I can pull the muffler out of the rear hanger and remove the muffler. Now I'm just going to repeat this process on the other side. I'm going to unbolt my clamp, unbolt my hanger in the front, and unhook my hanger in the rear. So the next thing I want to do here is remove my hanger from my muffler, and I'm just going to slide that off of the hanger rods, and I'm going to install it onto my new muffler. I'm just going to slide that on in the same orientation, and then I'll bolt it all onto the vehicle. And then I'll just repeat this for the other muffler. Now we're ready to throw these onto the car. I'm going to start by inserting the hanger rod into the rear hanger, just to hold everything up. And then I will position my front hanger and insert my hardware. Now I can tighten up that hardware. Now I'm ready to position my over axle pipe to the inlet of my muffler and then get my clamp into place. Then I'm just going to use my 13mm socket on my impact gun, and I'm just going to lightly tighten it down and then make my adjustments. Now that I have my tip adjusted the way I want it, I'm just going to take my 13mm socket again and tighten up the clamp fully. Now I'm just going to repeat the same exact process on the other side. And that's going to wrap up this review and install of the Flowmaster Outlaw Series Axle-back mufflers for your 11 to 12 Mustang. Thanks for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.